Hello, I'm Nenette and welcome to Nenette Chocolates. And in today's demonstration, I shall be showing you how to flavour your chocolate ganache fillings ready to make your chocolate truffles with. In previous demonstrations, you will have found me making a chocolate ganache, and you might remember that this is simply a mixture between chocolate and a liquid. So today what I want to show you is how to flavour your chocolate ganache, and this is really down to individual tastes and what you like and what you don't like. So today I've got a couple of options just to show you the possibilities, and then really it's up to you as to what you prefer to put into your chocolates. What I'm going to be demonstrating to you today is using a chocolate ganache that I have already made. So a chocolate ganache in this case is milk chocolate mixed with cream, and I shall be adding to that orange and a little bit of Cointreau. So this is a flavour that I make quite regularly, and I will do it in stages and so test the flavour as I go along as well. I also find that rather than the flavour giving you a big whack in the mouth when you taste the chocolate, my chocolates have a little bit of a different effect. They have a rolling flavour, so you'll get the fruit to start with and then you get the alcohol at the end. And you will also find that with fresh chocolates without artificial preservatives, and when they're made like this, that they will taste very differently at the beginning in their first 4 to 7 days of life compared with, say, 6 or 8 weeks later. And again, that's part of the delight as well, but I would always recommend that the sooner you can eat your chocolates, the better, for obvious reasons, obviously. So let's get on. So this is the chocolate ganache that I have made, and what I want to do first of all is add the juice and zest of an orange to it. So I have largely grated my orange already, so I'm just going to finish that off here, like this. There we go. And then I'll put that to one side. Just scrape that zest into my ganache like that. And then I will chop my orange in half, get the juice out of it. So I'll do that into a bowl here as well to start with, rather than straight into my ganache, such that if there are any pips, then I can remove those before you get a little surprise in your chocolate truffle, which probably wouldn't be what you're after. And also pick out any bits of the orange flesh that possibly you don't want in there as well. But this time of year, where are we now? January, oranges are at their best and they have a lovely flavour to them as well. You may not want the total amount of this juice to go into your ganache, but that's part of the experiment, and what I tend to do as I go along is to just test out the flavour, and that's important for you as well, just to make sure that you're happy that the flavour that you're acquiring is right. So what I'm going to do to start with is just tip in, say, half of that juice that I have created and stir that into the ganache. The effect that this has, obviously, is to loosen the texture of my ganache, which is absolutely fine. And you will find that if you just let it sit for a little bit before you work it, or work with it to make your truffles, it will solidify it. Or you can put it in the fridge, obviously, and that will solidify it as well. And you can then scoop out spoonfuls of your ganache and roll it in your hands, as I showed you before in previous demonstrations, to make your truffles. So this has got half an orange juice and all of its zest. So the first thing you want to do is just test it, and this is really important. It's like any cooking, just make sure it tastes right. Get it on the edge of your tongue and just make sure that you can taste the fruitiness that you're looking for. That one is lovely and fruity, but I'm just going to add a little bit more of my juice just to be absolutely certain. You can, of course, instead of using the juice and zest of an orange, use orange oil instead, and that will obviously mean that your ganache is less liquid, so if that's something you're looking for, that's something to consider. So there we are. What I'm going to do then is add my Cointreau. Quantities, just to recap on that, I have used 250 grams of chocolate, 150 mils of cream. We've had the juice well, probably 3/4 of the juice of an orange and the zest of it. And I've got 40 millilitres of Cointreau, which I'm just going to add to the mixture like that. There we go. So you can see that the texture of the Ganache remains lovely and glossy to look at, and it's got a bit of texture from the zest and the juice of the orange as well. So you've still got a lovely gloss to it as well. So that's ready to be used, but I haven't tasted it yet, so I just need to make sure that I've got the flavour I'm wanting. Yes, so you've got the fruitiness, and then as it develops in your mouth, you've got the Cointreau that just gets to the end of your tongue. Doesn't blow your socks off, but you've just got a wonderful subtle development of rolling flavours there. So that's one set of Ganache, flavoured Ganache. You might have spied this on the table as well. I'm just going to show you a different way of making a Ganache. Again, it's chocolate and a liquid, but instead of cream, this is gooseberry puree. This is one of my most popular and surprisingly so popular truffles that I present to my customers. And I'll come on to how I make that to start with. So if you remember, when you're making a Ganache, you're wanting to increase the temperatures of each of your ingredients to roughly about the same as one another. So I'm just going to pop my white chocolate, in this case, into the microwave. So let me just get it in the spatula. There we go. So this is quite a chunky version of white chocolate. This is a 33% white chocolate. So it's quite creamy, but not too sweet, which is quite nice for a white chocolate for a change. There's still lots of lumps and bumps in there. We've got 250 grams of chocolate here. So I'm just going to pop that back into the microwave, I'd say for another 30 seconds. Again, I just want to err on the side of caution rather than overheating it. So this has had another 30 seconds in the microwave and it is largely melted. You've got a few lumps and bumps which, when I stir it through, just as if I were tempering chocolate, will disappear as the heat of the melted chocolate melts those final pieces of chocolate that are unmelted, if that makes sense. So then the other part, if you remember when you're making a Ganache, is to heat the liquid. So this has had 30 seconds in the microwave and it's nice and warm to the touch, which indicates to me that we're ready to work with it. So just as with any other Ganache, add the liquid to the chocolate in small parts rather than all in one go. And again, this is another recap for you on how to make a Ganache as well, to also to see how things might go wrong and how you rescue it again. So this gooseberry puree, I was going to tell you about that, wasn't I? Is simply made from gooseberries from my garden, and these are beautiful pink dessert gooseberries. As you can tell from the colour of the Ganache, it goes so nicely with the white chocolate. All I have done to these gooseberries is literally just cooked them and then sieved them to get rid of the skins and the seeds. You can see, just as the Ganache that I made before, as you add liquid to the chocolate hasn't seized in this case, but it has a very nasty sort of curdled cake mixture, as I like to describe it, kind of consistency to it as well. So again, as we were saying before, all you would need to do is keep adding your liquid like this and stirring it through. So this will have a different kind of consistency from a Ganache that you make with cream, simply because you've got the fruit there instead. So you'll be able to compare that in a minute anyway. But it's now already acquired a nice gloss to it, as you can see here. But we have a fair amount of puree left to go straight in there, so I will just combine the rest of that, still doing it gradually. I don't want to overwhelm the Ganache by putting all the liquid in there in one go, but you can see the colour developing as well from the fruit. I don't add any sugar to the gooseberry puree, and I use white chocolate in order to provide the sweetness as a foil to the tartness of the fruit. And once you taste this, you will find that it's It's got a nice balance to it, the fruitiness, with a bit of a zing to it as well. And you can also maintain it's one of your 5 a day, surely. So again, I just want to taste that to make sure. Yeah, lovely tart fruit, but with the sweetness of the chocolate as a foil to it as well. So once that is shelled in a truffle shell, oh gosh, that's very tart. That will be absolutely delicious. As that is a really fresh mixture, it's very, very sharp at the moment, but as the chocolate ages, that sharpness will dissipate somewhat as well. But again, that's part of what you experience as chocolate develops over time. Again, eat your chocolates quickly to get the best effect from them too. So there we have 2 separate ganaches. One, as you can see from here, as I was saying before, that would solidify over time. This one has already started to solidify, just sitting there whilst I was making the gooseberry fool. And that will help when you start to work with it as well. This one is very liquid still, and again, that will solidify over time as well. And when you start working with it, you just leave it for a bit until you're ready to use it to make truffles, or put it in the fridge. Thank you very much for watching my demonstration. I hope you've enjoyed it. I would love to know what you think, so please get in touch, which you can do so via my website if you'd like to. I'd love to know also what you'd like me to show you in chocolate going forward. Just let me know your ideas. If you're watching me on YouTube, thank you. Please hit the notification bell and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.